How are you, folks? What a day in boxing. It was wild today as speculation. This fight was done. This fight was off. This fight was back on. There were all kind of crazy negotiations. But Turki Alalshikh finally cleared the dust a little bit ago, about an hour ago, late on Thursday night Pacific time. He said that he had signed Canelo Alvarez to a 4-fight deal. No Jake Paul fight, it appears. Bud Crawford fight on September 13th. Yes, that fight looks like it is happening. So here is what is going on. Here's what we know. Canelo Alvarez will fight a 4-fight package for Turki Alalshikh. He will fight May in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. That will be some kind of a tune-up fight. Probably against Jamal Charlo, but there are a number of other fighters that are in contention for that spot. Then he will come back in September, assuming he survives there. He will fight Terence Crawford, the fight that everybody wanted to see. And in the video that Turki Alalshikh put out on social media tonight, he called that fight the biggest fight in the history of boxing. Then next year, he'll come back and he will fight twice more. One of them potentially being talked about is against Dimitri Bivol in February. Later in the year, he will have one other fight. It's pretty hard to say what's going to be the second fight in 2026 when there's so many moving parts, so many fights going on that we don't know what is going to happen. But what we know for sure is that Canelo Alvarez has inked up with Turki Alalshikh on a 4-fight deal. Turki announced it. He said, never mess with the lion. And he got his man. He got the deal done that he wanted, got the fight made that he wanted. There was rumors, there was a lot of reports earlier in the day, even into the early evening, that Canelo versus Jake Paul was done for Las Vegas. It appears that that was just kind of a ruse and a little misdirection to maybe gain some leverage with Turki and to get the real fight done that Canelo wanted, which was, of course, was the Bud Crawford fight. Fantastic work by Turki Alalshikh. You really have to love what he did in this situation here. He had a hard time with Canelo Alvarez. He tried to make some fights for him in 2024. Canelo rebuffed him. Canelo says, I have my way of doing things. I think you need to work under the way I do things. And so as a result of that, it looked like they were never going to work together. But things kind of changed in January when all of a sudden Ring Magazine had its, well, I shouldn't say annual, but it had its award show in London in January. And who shows up at that but Canelo Alvarez? And when he was there, you knew that there was something going on, that he and Turki were going to engage in some negotiations. And we saw finally what the fruits of that labor, what that was today. I don't think this could be any better news for boxing fans, because we're getting the fight that we should have gotten all along, Canelo versus Crawford. If he fights Bivol next year, Dimitri Bivol, who beat Canelo in a 2022 fight, that'll be great. But that's jumping far ahead too. The good news is, I think, that Canelo is inked to Turki Alalshikh. We are going to see those 4 fights. And we don't have to worry about a Jake Paul fight. It just seemed a little weird. I wrote a column the other day on kevinioli.com about the speculation that Canelo might fight Jake Paul. And I said, if that fight happens and that is a $100 million fight, how do you tell Canelo no? Because I think a Paul Canelo fight would have been a massive fight at the box office. But I think there was an uphill climb for that fight for a number of reasons, because how do you get a commission to approve that? Jake Paul God bless Jake Paul, what he has done in boxing. I don't think he's a very good boxer at the elite level. Like, I think he is a middle of the road cruiserweight at best, 25 to 40 type guy, right? Who's going to beat some guys, lose to others, never beat an elite guy. But he started boxing in his 20s, and for what he has accomplished, it's amazing. So the fact that he put himself, at least in conversation where people were speculating about him fighting Canelo Alvarez, Boy, that is a great accomplishment on his part. I think Canelo kind of played this perfectly, though, by letting those talks go on and letting those talks kind of leak out. That helped put some urgency on Turki Alalshikh to get a deal done and make it happen. Turkey tried to play his leverage game because at one point, Ring Magazine, which is owned by Turki Alalshikh, put out a tweet saying, Crawford and Canelo is off, later noting that Turkey wasn't happy with the potential Canelo Jake Paul fight. So both guys tried to use a little bit of leverage. The end result is that we got what we wanted. Canelo is boxing boxers, legitimate professional boxers. We're going to see the Bud Crawford and Canelo fight in September, as we thought we would all along. Now, here is the thing. What do I think happens in a Canelo Crawford fight? Well, let's be honest. You have to figure that Canelo Alvarez is a strong favorite in that fight. He is a bigger man than Bud Crawford. He is natural at this point at 168. I mean, he makes that weight easily. He's fought at 175 and knocked out Sergey Kovalev. So we know he can carry the weight, handle it, no problem. Crawford's best performance in his career was at welterweight when he won the Undisputed Championship by knocking out Errol Spence. He comes back in his next fight on August 3rd of last year, and he defeats Israel Madrimov. Madrimov is really good, so I think some people underestimate Madrimov, and that's why Crawford did not look mind-blowingly spectacular in that fight. It was a very strong win for Crawford because Madrimov is a very good fighter, but it was not Bud's best performance. And we wonder, was the weight an issue, whatever. Now he's going to go up 14 more pounds from there to fight Canelo Alvarez. That is asking a lot. But having said that, if you said to me, but anybody can beat Canelo Alvarez in boxing that is in a weight class lower than him, the guy that I would pick certainly would be Terence Bud Crawford. Crawford is just a genius in the ring. He has maybe the best IQ in boxing. He has one of the best boxing IQs I have ever seen. He can go southpaw as well as orthodox. He has great footwork. He hits a lot harder than people think, is evidenced by what he did against Errol Spence. He creates really good angles. He controls the distance. He does so many things in the ring well. He's quick. He's smart. He's very cunning. He sets good traps. So could I see him outpointing Canelo Alvarez? Yeah, I could. But I think the smart money, you have to favor Canelo just because of the size, because Canelo is also an elite fighter, and many of the things that I said about Terence Crawford also apply to Canelo Alvarez. And Canelo is as competitive as they come too. So, he is not going to want to lose his unified champion status to somebody like Terence Crawford, who would then make history by doing what he did, because going up and winning that title, he would not be the undisputed championship because Canelo gave up the IBF title, but he would be the unified champion. Crawford, think of what he's done in his career. Wins a lightweight title at 135, going on the road to Scotland to defeat Ricky Burns to do it. Then he becomes undisputed champion at 140, undisputed champion at 147. He's a unified champion right now at 154, and he will be a unified champion if he beats Canelo Alvarez at 168. That would just be remarkable first ballot Hall of Fame stuff. And I should even say, look, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer as it stands right now. Come on. What else do we have to ask the man to do? The fact that he's even fighting Canelo, giving up that much size and everything, that shows the kind of heart that he has, the courage, the fighting spirit that he has. I love that. I absolutely love it. So he's clearly a first ballot Hall of Famer, but so is Canelo Alvarez. And while Crawford may be closer to his peak at this stage of his career than Canelo is to his, I think they're both elite fighters still. And Canelo's the bigger guy. So they all, the old saying, a good big man beats a good small man almost every time. So I think that, you have to favor Canelo, but I certainly would not count out Bud Crawford. From the day the fight against Errol Spence was announced, I said Terence Crawford will win that fight. I never wavered. I believed that all along. And he went out and he proved me right by putting on a spectacular performance, the performance of a lifetime, and stopping Earl Spence, which not a lot of people thought he could do. Can he do that to Canelo Alvarez? I think Canelo Alvarez is a little better fighter than Errol Spence. It's not going to be as easy, but I think he can win the fight. But great news. Congratulations to Canelo Alvarez on the 4-fight deal. Congratulations to Terence Crawford on getting the fight with Canelo Alvarez. And congratulations to Turki Alalshikh on doing your work and getting this 4-fight deal done with Canelo. It's going to mean a lot of really good fights, a lot of really good boxing cards. And that is a win for you guys. The fans are the winner in all this. Of course, Canelo's going to take home, you know, probably $250 million by the time this 4 fights are over, maybe even more than that. And of course, that's a big win for him. But man, give Turki Alalshikh a lot of credit. Great day for boxing. Love to see how excited everybody was, how many people were talking about the fights, what may happen. That is what makes you love boxing, when you know the big fights are in the air. So can't wait until September to see Canelo fight Terence Crawford. Congratulations to everybody involved. Good work. Now let's get it on. Enjoy the fights, everybody. See ya.